Hi everyone, welcome to BU110. It's week 5. We are so close to the end. I did want to just start off by mentioning that some of the slides on this first page are from our traditional campus in Baldwin City. So you can see there's our mascot Wowzer, and that lady waving is Dr. Lynn Murray, who's the president of Baker University. On the far right, you see some bagpipers that are coming through the arch at Baker University, and this is done for every graduation. So when you get to the point where you're at your commencement ceremony, the bagpipers will actually lead you out of the gymnasium and over to the hall where you will receive your graduation honors. So something to look forward to, and something that I think has always been really fun for me to watch. I cry every graduation. So, okay, here we are, week 5 assignments. This is old hat for all of you. You know to read C3, S, and W and writer's reference. You know the weekly forums are due and when they're due. The library tutorial unit 4 will be due by Sunday. This week is the big assignment is your academic skill presentation. We're going to spend some time talking about what you need to put in it and some tips for the presentation. That'll be due Sunday at midnight. This week, there is nothing due for your final research paper. However, I would recommend you start writing it or continue to revise it so that you can get it ready for week 6. And again, the last bullet there, Baker Policies and Procedure Quiz, that is not due until week 6. However, I have opened the quiz. So if you would like to go ahead and take that early, you are more than welcome. Each student gets 2 attempts at this quiz, and I will take the highest grade. So, okay, moving forward, let's talk about the presentation. I have assigned each one of you an academic skill. I want you to make sure you know what your academic skill is and start researching it. You want to make sure you have a credible and or academic source. And from your research, you need to create 5 strategies on your academic skill that you can share with your peers. 5 strategies, 5 best practices, the most helpful tips, however you want to interpret that. Then you want to decide on a presentation software. PowerPoint is the most useful. You all have access to it. If you don't have PowerPoint, you can download it through your Baker email account. Some students use Prezi. There is something called Pawtoon that's like an animated cartoon. I've even had one student just hit the record button and record themselves using the webcam on their computer. So I'm looking for between 7 slides, 7 minutes, to up to 13 slides, 13 minutes. I need you to remember to have an introduction and a conclusion, and each student either has to have a voiceover. I need to either hear your voice, or you need to add speaker notes into the slide if you're doing a PowerPoint. Also, since you're using sources, you need to have a works cited page, and this assignment will be due Sunday at midnight. I should let you know that in week 6, we'll be using everybody's presentations for a weekly forum, so just know that eventually it will be shared with the entire class. Here are some tips that I highly recommend. Before you get started, you might want to script it out. After you get your 5 best practices, figure out the sequence, figure out what you might want to say. Usually less is more, so just think about that. I would avoid writing paragraphs on your slides. You want to use bullet points, short phrases, just some keywords. Avoid clutter. Keep your slides clean. Make sure there's a design to it, and maybe just have 1 picture per slide. You always want to open with a short introduction for a presentation, saying who you are, what you're going to be talking about today. And of course, you want to end with final remarks, whether that's you reiterate the main points, summarize your thoughts, or do any other kind of final comments. And again, I would add images. You don't have to do tons, but I think it does enhance your content, so you may want to find images. Thinking about your design, start with the template. Don't go crazy out of the box. If you haven't done this before, use a template. You can always add to it later. Please use dark text on light background. It's very pleasing to the eye, unless if you do it the other way, it can be a little harsh on the reader's eyes. Again, align your text on the left versus the right or centering it. Again, it's just more appealing to the readers. And if you're going to use decorative font, it should only be for the titles or headers only. Decorative font can be harsh on the eyes, or it could be too fluffy or frilly. So you want to keep to things like Times New Roman, Arial Narrow, things like that when you need to put text into your slides. You want it to be easy to read, and you want the design to be consistent from slide to slide as much as you can. Whoops, I'm sorry. So that kind of ends my tips on the presentation. There's some more resources in Moodle you can look for. The next few, I think 3 more slides, talk about some academic policies, and these are in reference to the Baker Policy and Procedure quiz that you can take now. Starting with the academic policies, undergraduate students, so that's a student at Baker earning an associate or a bachelor's degree, must maintain a 2.5 grade point average or higher throughout their entire program. If a student dips below that GPA, then they will be placed on academic probation, and they have 3 classes to raise their GPA to the minimum 2.5. Here at Baker, a passing grade is a D or higher, and all students must receive a passing grade in BU110 in order to continue their enrollment at Baker. Students are not able to be enrolled in 2 core classes at the same time, so if that's something you want clarification on, I would go to your academic advisor and ask them for some more information. We do have a student handbook. You can access it in your student portal. You can go to our main website, type in student handbook, and there's some more academic policies on pages 36 and 37. Online attendance, just want to make sure I spend some time. You all are pros and you've been doing it for 5 weeks, but just to reiterate, a student cannot miss more than 30% of a class. At Baker, we do track attendance because of financial aid regulations and as well as for our accreditation purposes. So that means if you are taking a 6-week class, that an online student can only miss 1 week and still be within our attendance policy. Online, the week runs Monday through Sunday, which I know you all know. And in that way that the instructor marks you present, it's if you have completed 2 significant activities within that week. So that means that even though late work can be accepted, it cannot be counted towards your attendance record. So for me as an instructor, I'm happy to accept late work up to 3 days past the deadline. However, since the work was not completed in the previous work, it cannot retroactively be attached to your attendance record for the previous week. And in the online environment, it is an all or nothing thing, so there is no partial attendance. So if you've only been able to complete 1 significant activity, your instructor would mark you absent for that week. In the final slide, we talk about the refund policy. We know that life happens, so if you need to adjust your schedule, this is good information to know. So if you need to unregister from a class before it started, you won't owe anything. If you have attended the first week and then need to make a schedule change, you would owe 10% of the tuition plus the tech fee. And after the 2nd week of an online course, if you needed to make a schedule change, you would owe 100% for that class. For course withdrawals, and how does that impact your final grades? If the class has not reached the halfway mark and you need to withdraw from the course, you would be issued a W or 4 withdrawal, which will not impact your GPA. If the class is over 50% complete, then your instructor, based on your grade, would issue you either withdraw passing, WP, or withdraw failing, withdraw a WF. The WP does not impact your GPA, however, the WF does factor like a failing grade. So your academic advisor will be there to help you with this information. Just make sure you reach out to them, to learn about your options before you make any final decisions. So that actually is it for me this week. I really enjoyed being your instructor. I hope you are learning a lot, and please know that you can reach out to me if you have any questions, and I look forward to seeing your presentations, and I will be back next week for our final video. Okay, take care.